This is a very exciting project, and our plan is to roll out a clinical trial program at GenesisCare in Oxford in 2018. This is ambitious, but we're very fortunate in that GenesisCare has a proven track record already with clinical trials. Much of their work has been previously carried out in Australia, and GenesisCare has quite a considerable reputation in this field. So it seems natural to transfer the skills and the knowledge into the UK, and we're hoping that Oxford will be the first new GenesisCare clinical trials centre. I'm very excited about clinical trials because it's really the cutting edge of the work that we do. Without clinical trials, there is no good way of gathering safety data and, of course, data about the efficacy of a novel therapy. We've managed to attract some very high caliber principal investigators, and it's going to be the principal investigators which are going to hopefully be attractive to pharma to bring their trials into the centre. I'm very hopeful at this point in time that we will be able to achieve our goals. If you ask the question how many patients or what percentage of patients enter clinical trials, it's very low. So in my field, which is blood cancers and principally lymphoma, the trial entry runs at about 6%. It depends a little bit which type of lymphoma you look at. So you can see that the vast majority of patients never have access to a clinical trial. Now, of course, there are big trial centres already open in the UK, but all these centres are limited by capacity. We hope that within GenesisCare Oxford to provide additional capacity for our principal investigators to expand their trial portfolio. These won't be trials that will be investigator-led, these will be trials that are pharma-led, and therefore they will have already been through the standard regulatory systems, including ethics. So in terms of our delivery of the trial, we will be just like any other trial centre. Clinical trials are divided into phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. The so-called early phase trials, phase 1, and most people would include phase 2, are primarily designed to test safety and tolerability of a new compound. And the later phase trials, the phase 3 trials, are designed to look primarily at efficacy and compare the drug with a known standard of care. By entering a clinical trial, this would provide the patient with access to another round of therapy, which they would not be able to receive through the MDT process that you would expect to find in the NHS or even a private facility. Therefore, this enables patients access to drugs that they wouldn't normally have access to. This provides them with greater hope and hopefully increased survival, and if not increased survival, perhaps a better quality of life. Most of the compounds that we will be administering to patients will be a compound which is likely to be based on drugs that are already in use, which will give us some idea about their safety and tolerability. Unexpected events happen, and it will be very important that the governance of these trials is very tight and that the reporting of side effects and adverse events is in accordance with good clinical practice. For patients who become ill on clinical trials and require hospitalisation, we would expect them to attend their local hospital in the normal way. The clinicians who first attend to them will contact the principal investigators at GenesisCare so that they get a full briefing on the nature of the compound that the patient's receiving and some guidance on management. It may be necessary to transfer some patients into the hospitals where the PIs currently work so that those patients can be looked after by those experts. I think most clinicians would agree, in fact I would say all clinicians would agree, that safety is the key priority here. The key is to make sure that the study is well designed, it has a question that can be answered, and that the safety and tolerability of the new compound is at least expected, that patients will not suffer terrible adverse consequences. It's very important that patients have a full understanding of the clinical trial that they're entering. The concern I think that some patients will have is, am I going to get the new agent in a randomized study? Is the new agent going to work for the cancer? Is this new agent going to cause me side effects which are going to worsen my quality of life? They know that the dose level at which they're going to receive that drug is too low to have any definite efficacy, but they're prepared to enter the trial for the benefit of others. So in 5 years' time, I hope that GenesisCare will have an established trial centre in Oxford. I imagine that other GenesisCare centres may want to follow suit. I hope that the reputation of GenesisCare will mean that pharma will want to bring their trials into the centre, that they see advantages into bringing trials into the centre, that the processes work well, allowing us to open trials in a timely and cost-effective manner. That's the hope, and we'll see if we can deliver.